Good afternoon, and what is up, Teach Better community? This is Brad Hughes checking in with you from Ontario, Canada, elementary school principal and chief encouragement officer, as well as the training and development specialist with the Teach Better team. And one of the great aspects of my role with the team is the opportunity to go live with incredible guests like my friend Lori Schroeder. Lori is here, and we're shining the spotlight on Lori. We're going to ask Lori to get her spotlight sunglasses on because the spotlight's going to be big, bright, and beautiful. We're going to hear about everything Lori Schroeder and what she has to offer as an educator, as a new podcaster, and as a featured speaker at Teach Better 22. So right after this, we'll be back to dig into a great conversation with Lori. If you're watching and listening live, make sure you let us know who you are and where you're watching from in our comments. We're looking forward to interacting with you this afternoon as we get to know and we highlight Lori Schroeder here on the Teach Better 22 Spotlight.
So right now, I want to know if you're ready to teach better.
That's the whole mission of this weekend.
Just being here ready to learn and grow and come together like this is awesome.
What are those small changes that can make you better tomorrow than you were today?
All the amazing speakers we have here, wow.
So we have a ton of people here who are published authors, who are writing about education.
Let's get out there and teach better.
Welcome back, everyone. Brad Hughes with you and my guest, Lori Schroeder, featured speaker for the Teach Better 22 conference coming up in Akron, Ohio, October 14th and 15th of this year. Good afternoon, Lori. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm delighted to connect with you in this space. We've connected both on and offline a few times as we've gotten to know each other through the work of the Teach Better team. To get us started off this afternoon, Lori, let our viewers and listeners know who you are and where you are and some of the many things that you do.
So I'm Lori Schroeder. I'm from Northwest Ohio. I just recently accepted a new position over at Ottawa Elementary. So I have been very much into STEM and makerspace things. And so I accepted a position that's going to allow me to do more of that stuff. But I am a middle school teacher at heart. I am a math person at heart. So I still get to keep doing that. I'm doing 7th grade math. And I just love to connect with other educators. I just like to learn, collaborate. So if you ever want to meet up, please feel free to reach out. I have 3 kids, ages 6, 4, and 2. So, they keep me busy. I am currently training for a marathon. So that has been taking up majority of my summer. But otherwise, yeah, that's me in a nutshell, I guess.
Lori, tell me and tell all of us what's exciting you the most about this shift to a new elementary school, Ottawa Elementary. What are you most excited about in that shift for you?
I am excited about the community aspect. Ottawa Elementary is a great school, and honestly, the staff has been phenomenal. They are such a family team player. They are not afraid to go above and beyond for the students. I can't tell you how many people have reached out, other staff members, and they're like, we're so excited to have you. And that has been very heartwarming for me. And it's my community. My kids will be going to not necessarily that school, but another school within the district. So being in the same district as my kids is super exciting as well. But the STEM, I get to do 6th, 7th, and 8th grade STEM, and I am so excited. Right now I'm taking, I don't know if you've ever heard of Project Lead the Way, but I'm taking some Project Lead the Way courses, and I'm going to be able to teach those and just do all the hands-on stuff and the engineering stuff. And that's where my passion is. So I'm so excited to step into that role.
Lori, how did you become so passionate about STEM? And how are you leveraging your excitement to make great things happen for the kids in your classroom?
Actually, I learned about makerspace at a conference. So I am a conference junkie. I love conferences because I love learning from other people, and I love connecting with other educators. So I am so excited about this conference. I just recently stepped into the role of actually presenting. So it's still pretty new to me. But I learned about makerspace at a conference, and I just love the idea of, she just talked about how like middle school kids, they don't play with Play-Doh anymore. They don't just build Legos. They'll do the kits, but they don't just build to build. And I thought that was so intriguing, and I thought that was so true. Technology is wonderful, and I love it, and I use it all the time. But I think there's something to be said about getting your hands on something and creating something, and just creating it to create it. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything with meaning, but just something that you enjoy. And I remember talking to my art teacher, and she's like, I do makerspace every day. And I'm like, you do? Like, that's, that's part of the STEAM. That's the art. But just putting it all together, I think is just, I don't know. I love it. It's good. So yeah, I'm hoping and to give my kids that little outlet of to be creative and to make something meaningful.
Lori, I know that a lot of educators and parents and caregivers see technology as a way to hook kids for learning, to get their interest really high and then to dive in. So tell me a little bit more, though, about once you've made it past that hook and you've got the kids' attention, how are you leveraging STEAM tools and the opportunity to make and create to allow learning to flourish?
So with the PLTW, so with the design and modeling, one of the projects that they do that I am absolutely fascinated with is they take a student with cerebral palsy, and the kids research that. And one of the things is that sometimes it messes with their muscles. And so they talk about how if you have cerebral palsy, they always want to step on their toes. And so they have to create a brace that's going to help the kids flatten out the foot. And they have to make it so that the foot can go up, but it can't go down. So it's just the mechanics, but I love that it's helping out somebody else or somebody new, and they're learning about something beyond them. But then there's that meaningful impact of, you're helping another human being, you're making something that's going to help somebody else and reach them. And I think kids want to feel that importance, right? They want to know that they are making that change. And so I'm really excited to have them create those tangible things and they can actually at our school, we have a special needs unit. So they can even see those kids that need those braces. And I think having that real life connection is going to be huge. So I'm so excited about that.
What I'm excited about that too, Lori, is that not only is there a real world connection, but you're actually growing community right on your campus by activating and getting kids excited about meeting a need, and then also seeing what the real person-to-person impact might be, all the while building relationships. And you mentioned that you're a conference junkie, and we're excited to have you as a guest and a featured speaker at Teach Better 22. That's coming up in Akron, Ohio this October. All the information there is at teachbetterconference.com. And Lori, as a self-described conference junkie, what are some of the things exciting you the most about the opportunity to come together in Akron, not too far from home, I guess?
No, I'm very close. Well, like within 3.5 hours. I mean, COVID, right? Like, that's the most isolating I think that we've ever felt, anybody and everybody. So I am so excited to have my first face-to-face conference and to be able to shake people's hands and be like, well, what are you doing? And to go to different sessions and just expanding my thinking and expanding, just my little world, right? We all have our little worlds in our schools and in our classrooms. So to go beyond that, I love Zoom. It's great, but there's nothing else that beats that face-to-face, that handshake, that hug, that high five. So I am just, I can't wait.
Like you, I am hungry for those personal contacts and the opportunity to meet people like you, Lori, face-to-face, where we've only interacted on little 2-inch screens or maybe by video call or Zoom, and the opportunity to be in the same space. I think there's something irreplaceable about that because you can see, hear, and feel what people are excited about and passionate about. Not only that, you get an opportunity to interact with great educators like you, Lori. And as one of those great educators, as one of those featured speakers, you're also coming to benefit. And let me know about one or two things that you were really excited about learning more about or digging into as both a featured speaker and as a conferee for Teach Better 22.
So I think there's always more to know with the grid method and with student choice and student pace and really getting that personalized learning. I feel like I'm constantly evolving with that. So just to how can I reach all of my kids? and how can I give them the opportunities to be successful, and just reaching them at their level. And so I am so excited about that. Of course, I'm excited to meet other STEM or STEAM teachers and connect with them and say, how do you run your classroom? How do you do quote unquote grading? I always struggle with grading and assessment. So anytime I can dive deeper into that and talk to other teachers, and say, how do you do this in your classroom? And that sounds great. And just getting those little nuggets and things that you can constantly use. It makes me, I get so excited about it, because truly that's any educator, right? They just want to be the best that they can possibly be. So any like little, if there's just one little thing that I can tweak that makes it that much better, that might make me reach that one student, is so worth it.
Lori, it sounds like you're highly aligned with the Teach Better mindset. A little bit better today than we were yesterday, a little bit better tomorrow than today. And that excitement is contagious. I mean, the opportunity to come together in an amazing space with amazing educators and just leave energized and with practical takeaways that you can use, the next day or the next week. Connections are key. And I know that not only professional connections are a passion for you, but also developing connections between home and school. I know that you're passionate about building understanding at home with parents and caregivers about what education is really all about. Dig into that with me. How did that become your passion, and what are you doing about it?
So I'm part of a book club, quote unquote book club, right? Where a bunch of us girls get together about once a month. And so they were constantly, if their kid was struggling in school, they'd be like, well, this is what the teacher's doing. And they would just kind of talk about it. And then, of course, I had a different perspective being from education. And it's not the first time that people have come to me with problems or questions, and I'm explaining it to them. And so I felt like there was this missing link between, because I think parents want to know. They want to know what's going on in our classroom, and they want to know why we do the things that we do. And their knowledge goes as far as when they were in school, right? Like they have their own experiences. And as you know, education in the last, 5 years has changed so much. But parents don't have the same access that we do, right? They're not doing it every single day.
Right.
So I just felt like there was this missing bridge. And so I thought it would be like, what a great idea to give parents like a little window into the education world where they can get at least a little bit of taste and a little bit of that understanding. And so I decided to try and do a podcast. And so I just recorded my first episode. It is up and running, but I haven't quite promoted it yet because I want to get a couple more episodes written out and recorded, but it's called The Parent Teacher Team. And yeah, I want to reach parents because they do care. And honestly, us educators, we need their support, right? We know that there's only so much that we can do, and we do the most that we can at home, but we need their support. And so I feel like the more that they understand, then the better that we can build that bridge and that we can build that gap, all for the better of our kids, because that's what we all want. We want all of our kids to be successful.
Lori, I've had the privilege of previewing your first episode, and it's awesome. I love how heartfelt and how genuine it is, because that you're coming from a sincere interest in building those bridges. Because let's face it, when people don't know the information that they desperately need, they often fill in the gaps with misinformation or worst case scenarios, or they jump to conclusions. And unless someone like you or people like us challenge that narrative and help bring them into the conversation from the outset, there's a lot of risk. And don't we just want the same thing? We want great outcomes for our kids, whether you're a parent, an educator, a caregiver. And that's the parent. Is it the parent-teacher connection, Lori? Is that right?
Parent-teacher team.
Parent-teacher team. That's just incredible. Mm-hmm. I really encourage anyone watching or listening, when Lori does launch that podcast, check it out and let Lori know what a difference that's making for you. If you're a parent or caregiver, let Lori know how that might be filling in those gaps for you. And Lori, there's nothing better as a parent, caregiver, educator to feel that you're being invited into the conversation. Because let's face it, so many parents and caregivers, they drop their kids off at the bus stop or at the school doors. The doors close, they go in, the bell rings, and then you're taking on faith that everything is going okay. So, as part of the ongoing communication, your podcast, Parent Teacher Team, is going to be an amazing bridge. And tell me about how, as you're creating the episodes, how are you continuing to grow as, an emerging podcaster as well as an educator with the same commitment?
I tell you what, podcasting is a lot. It's a lot of technology. It's a lot of figuring out how do I get the sound from here to here and how do I download it quite right. And I'm still figuring out the editing side of things and still trying to put things together. But I think it's what I truly want is I want an open communication between parents and educators. And I want us both, if there is an issue, I think that it's important that people come in with a positive mindset of, okay, like they assume that the other person's coming from a good place, right? Assume that they have heartfelt, what am I thinking? Like they're coming from a heartfelt place and they want what's best.
For sure.
You want what's best. So having that mutual respect and just having that open communication of, okay, like we both have a common goal, right? It's to help. We want what's best for this student. We might have different ideas of how to do that, but to keep that goal in mind and to come to a mutual understanding and a mutual respect, I think will go eons for both parties involved. So just knowing what, I guess I just want our kids to have the best opportunity as possible. So I think as adults, we have to be adults and we have to come in with that mutual just respect. And
yeah, and something that really resonated with me with just what you said, but also your whole approach, Lori, is that sense of open-mindedness. Because as educators or myself as a school leader, we can tend to misstep when we position ourselves as the be all and the end all, the authority, the knowers, the doers. When we invite parents and caregivers in, and part of the conversation can be inviting the children, inviting the students into the conversation and positioning ourselves as learners. Let's face it, we all serve and work in learning organizations. We're there for the learning as well. And it sounds like podcasting for you is a part of that professional learning journey that you're on. I'm so proud of you and so excited for you.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of research. I have ideas for future episodes, but I also want to make sure that I'm well educated on my side. Yeah. So there's a lot that I need to learn yet with the, just in general. I'm not an administrator, right? I'm just a teacher. So there's some administrator areas that I know that I'll need to research and do some, just research and understanding, because I want to make sure that I'm coming from the right place, I guess.
Speaking of places, when you're in place and you're on the stage in Akron, Ohio, coming up in October, and you've spent your time with your audience and the guests, you had a chance to interact. As these folks are leaving your session, what are one or two key takeaways that you're hoping that they learn, or how might their mindsets have changed, or what might you be helping them prepare to do a little bit better or differently when they return to the classroom?
So I'm teaching them tips over a self-paced classroom. So I want them to be able to take away one little tip, one little thing that they're going to say, oh, I can do that. I can do that right away, and I can make that work in my classroom. I love the saying, and I think I heard this from one of you guys, is let's be problem solvers, not problem seekers. So I really hope that the people that come to my session really think about being problem solvers and coming away with one or two little things that they can use. And self-paced learning it's a lot, right? It just is, because you're letting go of that control. So I just want my session attendees to think that they can do it. They can do it. They just have to try. And as long as we're willing to try, and as long as we're willing to take one little step outside of our little box, a whole new world is going to open up for us and for our students.
Here's what I'm thinking, Lori. It's one thing to speak about that topic. It's another thing entirely to live it. And I want to reflect back that you're living all of that right now, Lori. You're shifting positions from one school to another with great excitement. You're taking some initial steps in podcasting. You're learning as you go. You're modeling sort of the just start mentality. You've got a vision. You've got an idea. You want to make a difference. You want to make a change. So just start and learn to trust yourself that with the right time and support, you'll know what the next step is. Incredible. I can't wait to meet you in person. And I can't wait for our listeners and guests to meet you as well at Teach Better 22 coming up in October 14th and 15th in Akron. Lori Schroeder, as we're wrapping up our conversation today, remind us how we could keep in touch with you if we want to know you better, or if we want to get into your work, or how might we track you down on social networks or on a website?
So my Twitter handle is right there. It's at Lori Schroeder 2. And so I post some stuff on there. And then on Facebook, I'm actually Lori Ann. So Lori and then ANN. And those are the two main areas that I post my teaching stuff. But Brad, I have to say thank you, because you are the one who pushed me to do the podcast. I kept sitting on the idea. I kept waiting. And I kept telling myself, someday I'll do this. And then so you kind of shoved me over the ledge, and I took a jump, and it's been great. It's a fun little learning experience. It's something I enjoy. And yeah, it's been great. Nice little passion project of mine. So thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm so proud of what you're accomplishing. And if you are looking to tap a school leader for any of that perspective, I would be delighted to keep in touch with you. I really believe not only in what you're doing, but how you're doing it, Lori. And I believe in you as an educator, a presenter, an emerging podcaster. And I'm so excited that you said yes to the opportunity to speak, present, and learn together with us at Teach Better 22. Lori Schroeder, it's been amazing chatting with you. I hope that our listeners, whether you're listening live or later, have an opportunity to review our discussion and to get in touch with you, anticipating a chance to meet, greet, and learn together in Akron. October 14th, 15th, teachbetterconference.com. Lori Schroeder, thanks so much. What an awesome conversation. I want to wish you the very best and have a wonderful day. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
So right now, I want to know if you're ready to teach better.
That's the whole mission of this weekend.
Just being here ready to learn and grow and come together like this is awesome.
What are those small changes that can make you better tomorrow than you were today?
All the amazing speakers we have here, wow.
So we have a ton of people here who are published authors, who are writing about education.
Let's get out there and teach better.